we in June started seeing, as practices were able to reopen, a really big influx of patients coming into practices, and our business grew significantly as a result of that. And I assumed it was perhaps kind of this warehousing effect where people had been, in the background waiting to get in, and there was going to be a bolus of patients that then came back in, and then perhaps there was going to be a smoothing out.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Grant Stevens, and you are listening to The Technology of Beauty, where we have the opportunity to interview the movers and shakers of the aesthetics business. And today, we have a huge mover and shaker, a dear friend, CEO, the head of everything for Merz Aesthetics, Mr. Bob Rhatigan. Thank you, Bob, for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Grant. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Full disclosure, I not only use his products, Merz products, but he's also a dear friend. So if you pick up on that, I apologize. He is a dear friend. We've known each other for many years. I'm so happy to have you, and we're doing this on Zoom, thanks to COVID. Otherwise, you'd be here, of course. Welcome. Let's start with this, Bob. Could you tell everybody just who you are? What's the deal? Who's Bob Rhatigan?
Yeah, I'm Bob Rhatigan, as Grant said. I'm 55 in about 3 weeks and have been in the medical aesthetics arena for over 20 years now. Spent a large portion of my career after many years at Procter & Gamble at Allergan, and launched the medical aesthetics business there, what became a very big and is still a very big franchise. And then joined Merz about 3.5 years ago and moved from Southern California to Raleigh, North Carolina, which my wife and I are really enjoying. We're empty nesters, 2 boys, both out of the house, and it's my wife and our 2 rescue labs right now.
That's fantastic.
Loving Raleigh. Yeah.
So what's going on at Merz?
A lot of stuff. We have had a really, and there's one of the dogs.
I just saw that dog. Yeah.
Yep. That's our yellow lab. Great stuff going on. We actually this year just separated the Merz healthcare business, which was a combination of 3 different businesses: the medical aesthetics business, the neuroscience business, which is a classic, reimbursed medicine business, and then a consumer care business that is really predominantly just in Germany. We had managed those businesses when I had joined in the context of geographies across the full portfolio. And early this year, we actually separated the Merz healthcare business into 3 distinct standalone independent entities. So we now have a global Merz Aesthetics business, and I have the privilege of running that. And we're actually the largest standalone medical aesthetics business in the world.
Is that right? And you're based out of Raleigh. Is everything in Raleigh? Do you have any other offices in the United States?
Yeah, we do. We have offices in Mesa, Arizona. We have a very big R&D operation there for our energy-based device platform, Ultherapy. In particular, we have a office and manufacturing of Radius, our dermal filler, in Wisconsin. And then Raleigh in the U.S. is the other main hub. We have our operations overall, R&D, and Germany in 2 different areas. We have offices. One is in Frankfurt. That's where Merz is headquartered. The office there is principally R&D based, and we also have manufacturing in Germany for our neurotoxin Xeomin, and then a separate manufacturing entity in Switzerland where we make our dermal filler Bellatero. So pretty diverse in terms of the footprint with regard to where we have different entities, and the concept is we focus on centers of excellence. So rather than just force every manufacturing and R&D facility or commercial entity into one location, we've really centered on where the expertise sits for those respective either manufacturing or R&D or commercialization entities. So involves a lot of travel, but
you must be on the road a lot.
Yeah, before COVID, I was on the road 2/3 of the time. It was pretty taxing. Actually, the positive side of this is I've enjoyed the downtime, and instead of sleeping 2/3 of my evenings on planes or in hotels, I'm at home, and I feel like I've spent more time with my wife and dogs in the last 7 months than I have in the last 7 years, which has been fun.
Well, that's good. Actually, in fact, I'm going to take this a little out of order. Why don't we talk a little bit about COVID? How has it affected you? You just mentioned a couple of things, and you might want to expand on that. But how has it affected Merz? Tell me the effect of COVID on you personally and on the corporation.
Okay, yeah, I'll hit on me personally. Fortunately, no one in my direct family has had COVID, so we've been very, very diligent about following all the guidelines, wearing a mask, limiting any social exposure, not flying, not taking mass transit, things like that. So we've been, fortunate that no one has become ill from it on a personal front. Fantastic. It's definitely, it was shocking to me when we first went into these lockdown environments and the heavy restrictions. I still find it odd when I go out and see so many small businesses that have had to close and look like they're permanently closed, and it's really sad to see. Mm-hmm. But other than that, on the personal front, it took me a couple weeks to settle into working from home. I'm sitting at home right now. We've been in a remote work environment for, since probably mid or beginning of March. So quite a long time now. And I've been basically sitting right here on Zoom calls and making calls and doing emails on a bar stool for the last many months, which at first was awkward. And then I settled into a rhythm where it's actually quite comfortable. So from a personal standpoint, disruptive as everybody has found it to be in terms of, the opportunity to go to restaurants, get together with friends and family, things like that. But hopefully going to be, coming out of this one soon. On the business front, it was really, really difficult in the March, April, May timeframe for us on a global basis, with so many practices having to actually shut down. I mean, we had the bulk of our customer base worldwide, you included, in a position where they had to shut their practices because the focus on minimizing elective procedures drove that. And our business literally was having the best run we've had in years up through March, and it's like we just fell off the edge of the earth in the end of March, April, May, June timeframe. It was scary. But the good news is it has rebounded very, very well. And I hope that you're seeing the same in your practice. We in June started seeing, as practices were able to reopen, a really big influx of patients coming into practices, and our business grew significantly as a result of that. And I assumed it was perhaps kind of this warehousing effect where people had been, in the background waiting to get in, and there was going to be a bolus of patients that then came back in, and then perhaps there was going to be a smoothing out. But we've had the last 4 to 5 months the absolute best months ever. So it's really, really exciting to see the resiliency of the market. And I think that it's, we hear this Zoom effect concept. There's certainly something to be said about that. When we're looking at, your own face from a foot away, you start going, wow, that, something I maybe want to take care of. But I think it's also a function of the medical aesthetics just having been more normalized now as part of someone's self-care routine, which is something we've been, trying to help establish for many, many years. And I do think that's really the case now. We're seeing younger patients coming in and people that are basically saying, look, I want to, invest in myself. I want to take care of myself. And when I look good, I feel good, and I live better as a result. And there's no, guilt or shame associated with that. So I think we've really, as an industry, gotten away from this. Well, those products and procedures, or going to see a plastic surgeon like Dr. Stevens, that's for the red carpet set only, and kind of an indulgent luxury item, to now being part of a individual's just normal self-care routine.
Said so well. We're trying to grow the pie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and fortunately, we've seen that. We literally today, I just approved an increase in the number of people we have in one of those manufacturing facilities that I mentioned in Wisconsin, because our product Radius is growing at such a fast rate, we can't even keep up with our current staffing levels and provide product to meet the demand. So we've had to increase staffing to help do that. And it's been remarkable to see not just the resiliency, but the strength of the market as practices have reopened. I mean, we're far in excess of, from a business standpoint, where we were this same time a year ago, and that was a pre-COVID environment.
That's amazing. So, and we're seeing that all over the country and across industries. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Radius. I know a number of the people listening think of fillers as just fillers, and as you know, most of them are HA or hyaluronic acid, and as is your Belotero. However, Radius is a unique filler, and would you share with us what separates Radius from the other HAs?
Yeah, it's a calcium hydroxyapatite based product, and fundamentally, I'd say the biggest difference is it provides great filling, great lifting for cheeks, filling of facial lines, but also there's a lot of evidence that it is a biostimulator. So it creates a emergent growth, or I don't know if growth is actually the proper scientific term, but it works for the layperson, of your body's natural collagen. So it's a very unique product in that respect. And as I said, I mean, just growing absolutely tremendously. It is distinct and unique from a filler standpoint, in that virtually everything else is a hyaluronic acid product out there, including our Belotero line. So they're good complements to have, but this in particular is a product that has just seen tremendous growth, and we continue to see a lot of innovation at a physician level.
Yes, it's a very unique product. There's no question. I know you are not at liberty to talk about off-label use, but it is being used all around the body and throughout the world, actually. I was exposed to one of the unique uses when I was in Brazil recently, diluting it down and so forth. So, Radius, I'm happy to hear for you that Radius is growing, as is your entire business portfolio. Now, tell us a little bit about Ulthera and Ultherapy. It's a unique approach to lifting and tightening. Tell us a little bit about Ultherapy, if you would.
Sure. That's our energy-based device offering. It's not an injectable. It's a ultrasound delivered energy that targets a specific layer of the skin, depending on what you as the physician deem as the best area to treat, to help provide a lifting and tightening effect for the patient. And it's a tremendous product. It's very unique. It's the only one that actually provides visualization. So you as the treating physician can actually see and target exactly what layer of the skin you want to deliver the energy to provide the safest and best outcome for the patient. So we have continued to enjoy a very, very strong business there. I would say that's the segment, though, that we talked about the business bounce back. It still is below where we were a year ago. And in talking to my colleagues around the industry, that is very much the case broadly for energy-based devices, lasers, and capital equipment. The people that are really coming in now are first going to injectables, and that starts with the neurotoxin, usually followed by a filler, or perhaps both together. And that we expect to see moving forward as well as a very quick, robust growth associated with injectables and a little bit of a lag on the capital business, which is the energy-based device business. But it's not down much, but still, unlike the rest of our business, is down just a hair versus a year ago. And the balance of the business, and I hope that you and others are seeing the same, is really, really significantly up versus this time last year.
No question about it. We keep wondering, you used the word warehousing, and a number of people have talked about that, but it seems like it's persistently, the demand is remaining up, and we thought it was going to come down and level off, as you mentioned earlier, but we have not seen that. Now, you mentioned toxins. And you have your own toxin or neuromodulator. I hate the word toxin because it sounds terrible, but neuromodulator toxin. We know which one is the 800-pound gorilla, but I'd like you to talk a little bit about yours. And can you give us a little insight about the future? And what do you think about this new toxin that's about to hit the marketplace? Or at least we think it is.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's address that.
Great. Our I'll say toxin, but you're right. It's a neuromodulator. It's, unfortunate that they get, framed as a neurotoxin or toxin commonly, but they are neuromodulators. And ours is Xeomin, Xeomin. In the majority of the world, in Europe, it's called Bocatur. But Xeomin is where, in most markets, the product is branded with that name. It's a very unique neuromodulator. I have a lot of experience. Obviously, I actually launched the product that is the 800-pound gorilla. Everybody knows the name of back in 2001 or early 2002, and then led that franchise while I was at Allergan for 17 years. So I've got a lot of exposure and experience to the different products out there. That's a great one. I will tell you, Xeomin is absolutely unique and a product I'm really, really proud to be representing. And it's the only product in the category. There are multiple products out there, but it's the only product that is uniquely purified to remove all the unnecessary proteins that surround the basic molecule that provides the clinical benefit. So very, very much a believer in taking out of any product things that are not necessary.
Do you make the Xeomin yourself, or do you purchase
Xeomin,
it?
Yeah,
Where is it made?
We make it. It's made in Dessau, Germany.
Okay,
and has been for a number of actually from the get-go, but it's been in the U.S. market since 2011, and earlier in Europe and some other markets. So always made in-house, start to finish. There's full custody of manufacturing from day one all the way to the time it's actually injected into the patient.
And is it distributed throughout the world?
Yeah, it's worldwide. We have all major markets the product available in. It's large and principal markets, I would say, are consistent with what you would find with medical aesthetics anywhere. So that includes North America, Europe, and Latin America, as well as Asia Pacific. It's available in all major markets there. You mentioned Brazil. Brazil is a very, very big market for us as well, as is Russia, which people are often surprised to hear about, but it's one of the largest medical aesthetics markets in the world. And for us, it's right behind the U.S. in terms of size and scope of the business.
Is it used primarily for aesthetics, or is there a therapeutic use of it also?
There is therapeutic use, and it's the same brand name. It's Xeomin. It's used for treating spasticity, and that is the business that we now call Merz Neurosciences. We separated it into a distinct independent business as well, because there's really, outside of the product, there's no commonality or crossover in terms of the customer base. And while in medical aesthetics, we're working with elective procedure, these are often very, very sick patients that are being treated. They have all sorts of comorbidities, and the product is reimbursed by the private third-party healthcare system and government system, Medicare, Medicaid in the U.S. as well. So that's a very big business. It's about the same size as our aesthetics use or business for Xeomin, but our Xeomin aesthetics business is growing at a very, very fast rate, far in excess of what you even see in the therapeutic realm.
Can you share with us what your annual sales numbers are?
Yeah, we don't. We're a private company.
Yes,
we're
I know
actually
you are.
a family-owned private company, so we only, on an annual basis, put out our sales, and we don't do them at a category level. So we're roughly $500 million globally in terms of our medical aesthetics business, just over that, and expecting to see growth to a point of $1 billion over the upcoming 5-year period with our current products, as well as a number of new introductions we have planned. But a lot of good things going. We have on the energy-based device side a lot of good stuff coming there in the next couple of years. And overall, fortunately for us, the pipeline, as we refer to it in the industry, is very robust, and provided it produces the safe, effective results that we expect, we're going to be bringing a lot of new innovation to the market. And that's great for you as our customers and all of our patients and people that are interested in getting a medical aesthetic treatment to have more and different offerings.
You're being a little coy with us. You said energy-based. Is that laser? Is it? Can you share any more with us? What energy it is?
Yeah, we don't have a laser business.
I know you
That's
don't.
one thing
I know.
that,
You have
that
ultrasound.
we're not in.
Right.
Yeah, we have ultrasound.
But you
so
did
it's
say
further.
you said energy. Is it?
I did. Yeah, it's
is it radio frequency, ultrasound, laser? Come on, Bob.
Ultrasound based.
I won't tell us all.
Ultrasound based.
Ultrasound based. Okay. I won't tell anybody.
Yeah, it won't go on YouTube. Anyway, yeah, it's right in our wheelhouse, which is ultrasound. We really are experts in this area, so that's where our focus is and is going to stay for quite some time.
No pun intended with the focus, I'm sure. Okay, I'll let you off the hook. A few years ago in New York, we had the wonderful time together of hanging out with Christy Brinkley. She was your spokesperson. And you'll recall that was my incoming presidential year. And she was a fantastic spokesperson for Merz and the brand. And we had a wonderful time. And that was a terrific couple years for you guys with Christy. And I've heard that you have another spokesperson. Do you want to share that with us? Or that
sure,
person?
Yeah, and I agree with you. It was wonderful working with Christy Brinkley. I mean, you had a chance to interact with her on perhaps a number of occasions, but definitely at that when you were the incoming president. And I mean, just a classy person all around. What a just
no question.
Beautiful inside and out person to be affiliated with. And back to Ultherapy, she actually has and was a user of Ultherapy and Xeomin. So did a great job, very open and candid about the products that she selects, why she likes them. And we were very fortunate that, two of our flagship products, Xeomin and Ultherapy, are part of Christy Brinkley's self-care routine. And we now, so we worked with her for a number of years. It was a great partnership and relationship. And we now have just a month ago launched a campaign centered around a individual known very, very well across the globe as a influencer in the beauty realm that, as well as Christy Brinkley, we're fortunate to have been a user of our product Xeomin. And she's actually been using it for the past 3 years. And her name is Gwyneth Paltrow. So Gwyneth Paltrow is now the face of Xeomin, the face of Merz from a celebrity ambassador and campaign standpoint. Very active in the social media realm, in the PR realm, and digital media. Is where she's got a tremendous following, and we're focusing our efforts in that area versus doing traditional TV and print-based media. We're really trying to get out on the forefront of the digitalization, and she's a great person to be in a partnership like this. Just absolutely credible, well-respected worldwide, and very relevant to a wide range of individuals, the demographic base of people that she speaks to, and that follow her and pay attention to, what she's doing from a beauty care regimen, lifestyle regimen is very broad and recognized globally as well. So I think over 50% or more of her following on Instagram, I believe it is ex-US. So absolutely couldn't be happier with her as a spokesperson for us now, and thrilled that she had actually discovered Zeamin, the merits of Zeamin, which is something she found, well in advance of us ever having known she was even a Zeamin product user. She's an extremely intelligent woman, does a tremendous amount of research, and it turns out she had done a lot of research on the neuromodulator market and discovered Zeamin, again, being uniquely purified to remove all the unnecessary proteins, and felt that that's exactly the product she would want to be using. She's all about clean eating, not putting substances into your body that you don't need to.
And besides seeing her on social media and her Instagram and her Facebook accounts, how do you plan on networking with her or partnering with her? Where will we be seeing her?
Yeah, she's going to be in a number of different venues on digital as well as print media. There have been already a number of very significant books people, for example, and when I say books, I mean magazines, that have done stories around Gwyneth Paltrow, her association with Zeamin and use of Zeamin, and there's going to be quite a bit more of that coming. And we've got when things get back to normal, post-COVID, and people can actually interact in group settings, we'll look forward to opportunities to network with her as we had the opportunity to do with Christy Brinkley a few years ago. So.
Well, I hope you bring her to the next Aesthetic Society meeting in Boston next April. God willing, we'll be able to be there in person. I hope you bring her.
Yeah.
Mark it in your calendar. I'll have to remind you of that. That'd be great.
I
did see her highlighted in Engage Media. You utilize the Engage Media people to announce that, and that looked like an interesting partnership.
Yeah, it is. It's a great platform. It's a digital platform for people that aren't familiar with it, that effectively, for folks like myself who aren't super technically literate, takes the pain and the hassle out of having to figure out how to get to some content. You don't have to remember passwords. You don't have to click through multiple places to find things. It's just basically served up on a plate to you, and very relevant, timely, clear audio, clear video, really high quality platform. So we've been happy. And that's not our platform. That Engage Media is a separate company, but we've contracted with them to utilize their services, and they've been a great group to work with.
That's fantastic. We had them on the show, actually, on the podcast prior, and it's a very exciting new technology, that Engage Media, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
So, Bob, what do you see in the future of aesthetics? I know you mentioned you have a number of products and goods and services being improved upon and coming out in the next 5 years. But if you look into your crystal ball, for our viewers and listeners, what do you see the future of aesthetics? What does it look like to you? Can you share with us what your thoughts are?
Yes, I think it's very strong. And, this COVID experience, and also the economic crisis that resulted from it as well. I mean, that was a double whammy that hit the market. Now, I think this experience has shown us that, if anything, the market is healthier and stronger. I believe the market fundamentals in terms of the patient base that is now saying, look, I have no stigma or guilt. I'm not worried about having to hide the fact I'm getting these treatments from my spouse, my friends, anyone else, is effectively kind of, old news. And people are much more open about it. So from a market fundamental standpoint, this is just a pause. This is not at all a reset in the market. And our experience, as well as others in the industry, proves that fact. We've seen a tremendous growth, which was frankly unexpected for us. We were not planning for this in light of everything going on from a macroeconomic and healthcare crisis situation with COVID. So that the demographic shifting to a younger patient, there's a lot more people in their early 30s coming in and getting treatments for the first time than had been the case previously. I think that is going to continue and frankly accelerate. People are interested in starting these products, not again as something that they think about to treat a problem downstream or an issue that they have, but rather to even prevent them from having to develop something in terms of wrinkles or loose skin, sagging skin, whatever their particular concern or issue could be, and making sure that they treat in advance to prevent that or delay the appearance of those things. And that's absolutely something we're hearing a lot about, we're reading a lot about in the media, and expect to see continue. And I think the industry is healthy and ripe with innovation, which will help create more interest, noise, and ultimately choice for patients, which is very important. I mean, it's exceptional. I know you, above all, others know this, but it's exceptional to be in a position where a patient comes in and you can offer a wide range of treatment options based on their interest and what you feel would best suit the desired result that they have. So that's going to continue to be seen across the industry with new products coming in the space and categories that exist. And frankly, I'm sure there's going to be some new categories that emerge. Hopefully one would be in hair growth. That's an area people have really, really actively been studying and researching as just one example of a category that doesn't really exist en masse yet, but hopefully there'll be an offering in the next 5 to 10 years for people that are desirous of that.
Well, thank you very much. I couldn't agree with you more. The future is very bright. It's very exciting, looking forward, and as I said, I couldn't agree with you more. Well, I want to thank you, Bob, for being our guest today and for spending this morning with us. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I look forward to seeing you in person soon, and certainly no later than next April for the Aesthetic Society annual meeting in Boston. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today on the Technology of Beauty, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Every other Tuesday, we provide the Technology of Beauty. Thank you.